It's time for Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. And now your host, J. Bryan Nugen, estate planning and elder law attorney.
Good morning and welcome to Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. I'm attorney J. Bryan Nugen, founder of Nugen Law, and your host for our program. The purpose of our show is to have a weekly, in-depth conversation about matters relevant to folks as they walk down the path of successful aging. Our listeners will learn what it is to age with dignity and how best to protect their money. I've been practicing law for 3 decades. I'm licensed to practice in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Florida, and actively represent clients in all 4 states. My practice, the attorneys, and our interdisciplinary team of professionals who practice with me concentrate on working with clients in estate planning and elder law and areas related to them, such as estate and trust administration, guardianships, and planning for those with special needs. Nugen Law sees clients in many stages of life, but commonly we have folks reaching out when they or a loved one are showing signs of needing help. Those signs may include a chronic ailment or progressive decline, before, during, or after hospitalization, an instance of incapacity, caregiver burnout, stress on family members due to some or all of those instances I just mentioned. Today, I have a member of the Nugen Law interdisciplinary team, Brian Grubb, our elder care coordinator, or as we call him, BG. Before we get into asking BG questions, you should know that he has a degree in psychology and is a licensed social worker, having been licensed for 30-plus years. BG is also a large part of how Nugen Law strives to preserve and protect the dignity of our clients and to help our clients addressing some of those signs of need. BG, please explain what services an elder care coordinator provides for Nugen Law clients who may be facing some of those issues I mentioned.
Good morning, Brian. The elder care coordinator does a variety of things. The primary things are providing resources for individuals, helping them find places to live if they're looking for that. Major part is just supporting people through the walk that they're going through at the time. So we may do anything from going to the hospitals, talking to the social workers at the hospitals, meeting with physicians, meeting with the care team at facilities. But a lot of what we do, or what I do, is just kind of being there for them to answer any questions. Usually it's things that they've never had to do before, or a process that they've never experienced before. So Medicaid, all sorts of different things.
Great. What drew you personally to this field?
Well, for me, social work it was a calling for me. My sister had some mental health issues when she was young. And for me, I just was interested in serving people. And it's been 45 plus years, and I just have loved every minute of it. Really enjoyed what I've done to serve people.
I can say that the feedback that we get from our clients is really incredible, and I appreciate and respect what you do for them. I know it's personal for you.
Yeah.
You feel it, and our clients feel it as well. Yeah. You mentioned in your earlier response about resources. Mm-hmm. You're looking for resources for your clients. What does that mean?
Resources varies from person to person, but for some people it may be getting help at home. It may be getting a CAPTEL phone so that somebody with hearing difficulties will be able to hear conversations better. It may be getting people food for their home. It could be finding them a new physician. It could be finding them home health care. It just a wide range of things that I help people with. So knowledge of resources is a key part of my job. And again, because of doing this work for so long, I have a lot of connections, and I'm constantly making new connections. So
excellent. Thank you. I recognize that all of your clients are unique with individualized needs. However, is there a commonality or something that you're typically seeing running through your clients as you're getting to know them?
Well, I think the common link is just that so many people, they just don't know where to turn. I think that's the common link, you know. And for me, again, it's just being able to answer questions, kind of ease their mind, and help them to just understand that I'm here in their corner for them. So For example, recently, even an individual that was at a hospital, the social worker there was helpful, but I added personal things such as like going to the facility that they were considering and advocating for them. So, but overall, I think the common thing is that it's never been, it's an experience that I've never done before. So,
and how is it that you see that your clients, those that you're working with, appreciate the work that you're providing for them, appreciate the coordination of care that you're arranging on their behalf?
Well, I get a lot of love in this job. I really do. I mean, I wish I could say it was just always for them, but I'm telling you, I get a lot of love. In fact, yesterday I was with a family that I helped get into a facility by one-on-one advocating for that family. And when I was that person moved into a facility yesterday, and I went to see the family. She wasn't expecting me to come. I met with them the day before with admissions process. I met with them the day before with just kind of helping them prepare, talking to the social worker, all that stuff. But as I was getting ready to leave, she introduced me again to her husband, who was the individual at the facility, and she said, "This is my new best friend."
So, what a nice compliment. Yeah. I love hearing that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. When working with a new client, how do you get to know them? Understand who they are and what needs they may have. Mm-hmm. What's that process look like when you receive a Nugen Law client?
Well, frequently I meet with people as soon as they meet with the team members. So if they are in the office, the attorneys and the team members will call me in there if I'm available. Usually I'm out in the field, but if I'm available, I'll meet with them right then. If not, we try to meet with them immediately. In fact, I'm meeting with a family this afternoon that we just met the day before, and I try to get with them as soon as possible. But what I try to do is always find common interests, commonalities. I always want people to feel like they have somebody that they can trust. Trust is like the biggest part of what I do. I want them to know that I honestly and care about their situations, and I'm there for them. And so for me, I immediately start looking for things that we have in common. I can always find that in people. Nice. Guy pulled up the other day, and he had a Harley-Davidson license plate. I noticed those things.
Sure.
And we started talking, and he's struggling greatly with his loved one. So,
mm-hmm. So it isn't just that you're getting to know your client initially at the office.
Right.
It sounds like you will meet them at the hospital or an assisted living facility, at their home, wherever they are.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I really like meeting people at their own homes because I feel they are most comfortable there. And I think it breaks some barriers when they know that I'm not sitting up in an office. In fact, I had a comment from one person the other day just that the person that they were working with at a hospital setting felt like they didn't come down to their level. They felt like they just sat behind the desk and weren't super helpful. So, but yeah, I will meet anybody anywhere, but I prefer to meet them at their home. And again, I do believe fully that helps with creating a relationship with them.
Sure. You've mentioned a couple times about social workers at hospitals or different mm-hmm. facilities, and as an elder care coordinator, how is it that you find yourself working with other professionals in your field and maybe supplementing what information they're providing for your client? How is it that you're working directly with them and advocating for your clients?
Yeah, so like I attend care plan meetings at facilities. That's one way I do that. But I'm always creating relationships, and I want people to know that when I'm working with individuals, I'm not only just advocating for them, but I'm advocating and educating the facility staff too. So it's a very important relation, and I constantly work at building those relationships at the facilities. So it may be at a facility, or it could be even just a physician's office. Or physicians that maybe you even are seeing somebody at a facility. But I'm constantly trying to build those relationships, giving them additional information, fact, I met with a team member the other day, and because we wanted this person to be successful when they actually transitioned from the hospital to a facility, I met with a social worker and instructed the family to, create a set of questions, and also just for that team of facility members to realize that for the best success of the individual and for the facility team, it was going to be an awesome thing if they could meet as soon as possible, and also to realize that the family wants this person to be successful. And, they're the ones that know him best.
And when you say you want the person to be successful or others want them to be successful, how do you determine what that success is? Are you communicating with the client and speaking with the client about how they determine success? What does that mean to both them and for you in helping them?
Yeah, it's person by person, and its success is determined. You can't just say across the board, this is success. Every individual has their own level of success. We had an individual not that long ago that we never thought that would leave a facility. And again, I'm talking a lot about facilities today, but it's not all facilities. Sometimes it's success at home. Is this person able to stay at home? Is the family member not exhausted anymore? So every situation is different. But for me, success is just, I identify it as that the family feels better, that they feel like they have come to a different place, a more acceptable place for the person. And sometimes, again, another example just recently, just being able to transition a person from one place to the next and that it went well. Mm-hmm. That was a success. Just in that one day was a success. Mm-hmm. For a person to talk a little bit more, it is a success. For a person to go from being at their home and going to a facility sometimes can be a success. So it depends on the situation, but
I think back to a time where recently we were concluding a case we'd been working on for an extended period of time, and as the family was leaving, the one son had said to me, gosh, the one part of the service that you provide, the elder care coordinator, I didn't see the need for that. And at the end of the day, that was the most important part of their working relationship with us, and they got the most out of that. Yes, we saved them money. Yes, we were organized them, and but at the end of the day, this was the thing that they were left with, that one-on-one care and how you looked after their loved one and supported the family. So I know you're making an impact for sure.
Thank you.
You're using the word facilities a lot, and I think in the industry we use that phrase. But a facility, let's talk about the definition of that. That could be independent living. It could be assisted living, nursing home, memory care unit. It could be senior housing. It could be independent housing. In anything like that. That's other than a stick-built home or other than your home or an apartment that you're living in, et cetera.
And a lot of our goal, though, is, like I said, I was talking a lot about facilities, but one of our primary goals is to get people on what they call the Medicaid waiver, which is to help keep people at home. That for so many is the dream, stay at home, be able to stay at home in a way that makes sense. We always use that term, as long as it makes sense, and to help them to fulfill their dream of staying at home as long as they can.
Right.
So,
sure. I'm glad that you brought that point up, because if it makes sense for the person to be at home, of course we want them to be at home. And we want to make arrangements and coordinate care for them so that they can remain there. Sometimes it's family members chipping in, but oftentimes it's coordinating care from an agency to provide hands-on care, arranging for meals to be delivered, or the first alert buttons to make sure the person has the first alert button. And how is it that they can be successful at home? And it isn't necessarily having 24-hour-a-day care. No. Sometimes, 3 days a week, somebody coming in 3 hours in the morning, 3 days a week, and making sure everything's on track, food is prepared, the client is clean and in good shape. That can extend the time for them to be at home.
Yeah, and a lot of folks, it's a transition time for them. And for many families, it's a transition for one person and not the other.
Oh, yes.
So we'll have people that are in, they'll need a higher level of care than somebody else. So mom still wants to live at home, but dad needs to find a place to live. But then maybe mom's in the short term, maybe she's going to need to leave home also, maybe in the next couple of years. So where do you go? So
I've always felt that working with clients early on, before they're in crisis mode, is better. You get to understand the client, what goals they have for themselves, and what concerns they may have. What do you think? Is earlier better, or do you prefer to be called in when there's an emergency happening?
Well, I definitely think the sooner you start addressing whatever the issues are, and they don't have to be major. I'm working with a couple right now that, in their 80s, and they're doing fine at home. But I tell them, go start looking at places, So our law firm is interested in helping people to look forward, not just respond to and react to where they're at today. But I will say that when that does happen, crisis situations, I'm all in. I worked at the emergency room at Parkview for some years and doing assessments. And I think, sometimes the best responses, can come when you just jump all in and you're at it 100% right then. And so the object then is just to get results fast, and again, help people through that crisis situation. So.
It seems to me that the earlier that you're involved with them, you permit your client to be in control of their own destiny. In a crisis setting, you're putting out fires. Not that you can't be of assistance. Of course you can. We do that regularly. But boy, if you can get that baseline for your client, understand who they are, their expectation of success, what that means to them, and get to know them, meet them where they are, when they're able to assist in making a determination about their future, and as opposed to people around them making decisions for them. I think it's that's the key.
Yeah, absolutely. I think whenever somebody can lead themselves down to wherever they want to go in life, that is ultimate.
Of course. So aside from our clients, I find that you, and by extension our firm as a whole, establish relationships with family members of our clients. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that the relationship with the family is sometimes they're all key. The key with the individual, I always try to make sure that that's the primary thing that I'm focusing on, and always include them in conversations. And when we're talking, don't talk over them. But family members are the ones a lot of times that are on the outside performing, doing all the things that they need to do to get things accomplished, So the relationship with the family is so key. And I just, I work hard at just, it's not really work. I wouldn't say work. I put a lot of effort into making sure that the families are involved. And sometimes that can be tricky too, because it's difficult relationships. Sometimes you might have one family member wanting one thing and another family member wanting something else.
Yep.
So
I see sometimes too clients maybe say their health is maybe starting to decline, and their cognition, their memory isn't what it may have been at one point, and so they're showing that they're independent and that they're in charge by maybe saying some things that aren't as friendly or as kind as they once were. And that's they're showing their family and everybody around them they're still in charge. Right?
For sure.
And we have to respect that and meet them where they are and treat them with dignity.
In fact, I have somebody right now I'm working with that the son would like for his mother to be in an assisted living facility. She's not ready for it. And so my thing with her is like, look, we need to let him know that we're going to make sure that you're safe. So we're not dismissing the family members at all. We want them to understand that what we can do to help them to thrive in their current condition and in their current home. And we really need to respect that the person that is still smart, coherent, making decisions on their own every day, that they still have the rights and the abilities to make those decisions for themselves.
Sure. So in this instance you just gave with a mother and son,
Yeah.
and in other instances, are family members always living locally?
No, not at all. In fact, this situation, well, we have situations right now. We got a dad that lives in the northern part of Indiana, and the daughter lives in Virginia. We got another situation, this one I was just referring to. The son lives down in Indianapolis area, and we've helped people find assisted livings in different areas of the state so that when that time comes, we can do that. And but the thing is, again, I always want to reassure family members, that we're doing things that will make sense, and that we're providing help for the individual so that they can maintain and live out their dream. And I believe totally that at the end, the family members will be happy because the individual that we're serving is happier living at home. So.
And don't I find that by your shouldering those care coordination tasks, you're allowing family members to be family members, not to be caregivers, not to be frustrated with the needs of our loved ones, family members, parents as they age.
Right.
And honestly, I think that your clients may speak to you in a way differently than they speak with their loved ones. Back to that, they're showing their loved ones they're still in charge, so they're going to maybe sometimes say some biting things or some hurtful things.
Yeah,
I know even in my own family, I was caring for my grandmother, and I thought I was doing a darn good job, and she definitely put me in my place a few times, and it stung a little bit, but she was showing me she's in charge.
Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah. For example, just recently with this one family, there was concerns. The person lives out of town. The mom lives locally. And they had some concerns that mom was going to burn up an electrical fire. So mom had tried to call 3 different ones, wasn't getting help. And I was finally able to get an electrician. I went over there, met with the electrician, walked through the house. We did a bunch of different things with them. And again, mom was like, so be it, if that's what happens, But
she wasn't concerned, but the family was.
No, she's like, my life isn't that great anyways. But but anyways, we solved that, reassured the son that she was safe. So he felt better, she felt better, and she ultimately is just happy to continue. Yesterday, we met with aging home service individual to get her some home health care services. She has a lot of health problems, and we're going to get that going right away.
Good. I think a great part of our job is allowing loved ones, spouses, family members, etc., to maintain their historic relationship with their loved ones, our clients. For a child to be a child and not a direct caregiver, for a spouse to be able to age gracefully. This is kind of what you were saying earlier. You have, maybe there's a husband and a wife, and they're at different stages of life and their health, but allowing a spouse to be able to age gracefully without being consumed by the direct care needs of their husband or wife, etc. How do you see yourself as an elder care coordinator at Nugen Law, assisting loved ones to maintain their traditional roles with our clients, your clients?
Yeah. Well, I always, when I inform them about services or things that we can do to make a difference, one of the main goals for me always is for family members to become kids again, or loved ones again, not just a caretaker. Yeah. I give examples of like, well, if we do this, or if we can get this kind of service in here, you guys can just go out for lunch, or you can go out for dinner instead of going to the doctor's appointment.
Right.
So focusing on the things that that they want to remember about their loved one, or even for the individual, like, it's a lot more fun to go out to Walmart and just do a little, hanging out and shopping, even if it's not necessary stuff, or going to lunch than to go to a doctor's appointment. So I think that, always encourage people to think about their lives and their time together, that it could be better than what it is. And if we help with getting services and doing things that will help promote that, then it's better for everybody. It's more enjoyable.
Right. So after you've established that relationship, that friendship with your client and their loved ones, how often are you communicating with both the client and the family members? How often do you find yourself doing that?
Brian, again, it depends on the situation. With some families, I communicate with them sometimes daily, sometimes weekly. And for other families, maybe it's monthly. I always try to get to people, even if I'm not doing a whole lot for them at the time, I will go visit them, see with them, to maintain the relationship with the individual and the family. Mm-hmm. I want them to know that no matter what we're doing for them, that we're still there for them.
So when you talk about communicating with your clients and their families as well, how do you communicate with them? Of course, when you're seeing them one-on-one, you're having a conversation, but you may be dealing with kids that live out of state or out of country, wherever it may be. Yeah. How is it that you're communicating with them if you aren't able to put eyes on them?
Yeah. Well, for example, yesterday I was in a city up north. I was actually in LaGrange, and I was on my way back, and I had another client whose family member lives in another state. I let that person know by text. And again, it's like meet people wherever they're at. Some people prefer text, some people prefer phone calls, email, whatever. But I will meet them and talk with them and communicate with them in any way that they prefer. And sometimes it takes multiple ways to contact people. But so yesterday, for example, I was on my way back from LaGrange, and I contacted the daughter and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about stopping by to see your father." And I said, I'll call him to make sure that he knows that I'm coming. And so she appreciated that, sent me a heart text little thing, and we were good. So
Great. So let's assume a client's in their home, okay, but they're starting to struggle providing care for themselves.
Yes.
Or a spouse or a child is struggling providing the level of care they may need. Or the spouse's or child's well-being is in jeopardy from the stress of providing care, right? Caregiver burnout, we hear about that a lot.
Yeah.
What can you do as their elder care coordinator to keep them in their home while being mindful of the needs of their spouse or their child?
Well, again, just helping with the Medicaid waiver is a big thing for many people, and that will help ease the burden, help them to stop being the caretaker so much and becoming the spouse or daughter, granddaughter.
Now, if the client wasn't appropriate for the Medicaid waiver, you would look at other resources. I mean, it could be private funds, could be long-term care insurance policies, could be VA. If they're a veteran, there are some VA resources available as well.
Yeah.
So let me take that scenario a step further. If it no longer makes sense for the client to be in their home, and we want to look to alternative living options, which provide the most flexibility and freedom for those we represent, how do you approach this topic with the client? How do you approach that with a family? How do you provide what options are available to them in a sensitive way?
Well, I always think about what the most positive things are for folks, So I would give somebody, let them know about the different available options, let them know the things that might be best for them. And sometimes it's just reality talk, like this is going to be something that I think you really should address.
Right. BG, we're starting to get tight on time for today's show. What I gathered was that it's never too late for your clients to benefit from your services as an elder care coordinator with Nugen Law, but that earlier is preferable when it's feasible. As an elder care coordinator, you put into place plans which permit families and loved ones to maintain their traditional roles with your clients while providing guidance to those you serve and coordinate care wherever your client may be. Could be in their home, an independent living or assisted living facility, nursing home, memory care unit, hospital, etc. Where they are, you're there. You're the advocate, confidant, knowledge base, and friend. So thanks for your insight today, Brian Grubb, BG. We appreciate it. If you'd like to meet with BG in person to learn more about how he and the rest of the team at Nugen Law can help, please call 260-925-3738 or email us at help@nugenlaw.com. Thank you for listening to Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law and to our guest, Elder Care Coordinator Mr. Brian Grubb, BG. I look forward to speaking with our listeners next weekend, Saturday at 9 a.m. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.
You've been listening to Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. For more information, log on to NugenLaw.com or email help@NugenLaw.com. Nothing stated in today's program should be considered as legal advice, should not be considered as having created an attorney-client relationship between show host and guests and any listener. Nugen Law is not liable for anything that happens as a result of a listener relying on provided information as legal advice. The content is for informational purposes only.